What if everything we've been taught about the perfect body is only a few decades old? Today, millions of women are surrounded by messages telling them that thinner is better, smaller is healthier, smaller is more attractive, smaller is more successful. But history tells a very different story. For most of human history, beauty didn't look like this. For centuries, artists celebrated curves, sculptors carved them into marble, painters filled their canvases with fuller figures. Even Hollywood's greatest icons looked nothing like today's fashion models. So what happened? How did we go from celebrating abundance to celebrating absence? And perhaps the bigger question is this: who decided that thin became beautiful? If you could travel back 1,000 years and ask someone to describe the perfect woman, their answer would probably surprise you. Across many cultures and historical periods, a fuller figure wasn't seen as something to hide. It was admired. To understand why, we have to remember something that's easy to forget today. For most of history, food wasn't guaranteed. Harvests failed. Winters were harsh. Famine was never far away. In a world where survival was uncertain, carrying extra weight could suggest health, fertility, and access to food. It often signaled security rather than excess. Beauty has always reflected the values of its time. When scarcity defined everyday life, abundance became beautiful. Even in the 20th century, some of the world's most admired women would not fit today's fashion sample sizes. Marilyn Monroe has often been remembered as the ultimate beauty icon. Yet by today's runway standards, many people would probably describe her as curvy. The standard hadn't changed yet, but it was about to. And when it did, millions of women would spend decades trying to catch up. The 1960s weren't just changing music and politics. They were changing beauty. A new generation wanted to break away from everything their parents represented. Fashion became younger, more experimental, more rebellious. And standing at the center of this cultural shift was a 16-year-old girl from London. Her name was Leslie Hornby. The world knew her as Twiggy. She was unlike the glamorous Hollywood stars who came before her. She was extremely slim. She wore her hair short. Her large eyes and youthful appearance gave her an almost doll-like quality. Twiggy didn't invent thinness, but she became the face of a completely new ideal. Designers were creating clothes with straighter, slimmer silhouettes. Those designs hung differently on lean bodies, and the fashion industry embraced that look. For the first time, many women weren't simply buying clothes that suited their bodies. Increasingly, they were being encouraged to change their bodies to suit the clothes. Of course, Twiggy alone didn't change the world. Social movements, youth culture, media, photography, and the growing influence of fashion magazines all played their part. But she became the image that symbolized a dramatic shift. What made this shift so powerful wasn't simply that one model became famous. It was that, for the first time, millions of women were seeing the same beauty ideal at exactly the same moment. Fashion magazines crossed borders. Television brought the same faces into living rooms around the world. Advertising became more sophisticated, more persuasive, and more relentless. A young woman in London, New York, Sydney, or Cape Town could open a magazine and be shown the very same image of what beauty was supposed to look like. For the first time in history, beauty was becoming global. Instead of each culture celebrating its own ideals, a handful of magazines, designers, and advertisers began shaping the aspirations of millions. The message wasn't always spoken out loud. It didn't need to be. Every cover, every fashion shoot, and every advertisement quietly repeated the same idea. This is the body you should want. And if your body didn't look like that, perhaps it was your responsibility to change it. The ideal was no longer simply admired. It became a target, something to chase, and like any target that keeps moving, it could never quite be reached. And once that image appeared on magazine covers around the world, millions of women began asking themselves a question they had rarely asked before May. Am I thin enough? Beauty trends have always changed, but this one was different. For the first time in history, becoming beautiful wasn't simply about buying a dress or copying a hairstyle. It became a lifelong project. Lose 5 kilos, tone your stomach, burn fat, count calories. Try this new diet, then try the next one. As the ideal body became smaller, an enormous new market began to grow. Books promised the perfect body. Magazines published diet after diet. Fitness programs multiplied. Weight loss products filled supermarket shelves. More recently, social media has brought a constant stream of transformation videos, wellness advice, and perfectly edited images. And today, medications such as Ozempic have become part of conversations about weight in ways few could have imagined a decade ago. None of these industries created the desire to be attractive, but together, they helped shape an environment where women were constantly reminded that they could always improve, always lose a little more, always tighten a little further, always become just a little closer to the ideal. But what happens when the ideal keeps changing? Perhaps the biggest surprise isn't that beauty standards have changed, it's how quickly they change. For centuries, curves represented health and beauty. Then, within a few decades, thinness became the new ideal. Today, even that isn't enough. Modern beauty asks women to be thin, but also toned, youthful, but somehow ageless, natural, while appearing effortlessly perfect. The goalposts keep moving. History teaches us something important. Beauty standards are not laws of nature. They are shaped by culture, by fashion, by technology, and sometimes by profit. The women of the Renaissance weren't wrong. Marilyn Monroe wasn't wrong. Twiggy wasn't wrong. Each reflected the world they lived in and was shaped by the stories each generation chooses to tell. Perhaps the real question isn't whether one body type is more beautiful than another. Perhaps it's why every generation convinces women that beauty has only one correct shape. Every era has convinced women that its version of beauty was the right one. Yet every era eventually replaced it with something new. Perhaps that is the greatest beauty lie of all. Not that one body type is more beautiful than another, but that there has never been only one way to be beautiful. If history teaches us anything, it's that beauty standards are temporary. But the women trying to live up to them are real. And perhaps the next time the mirror tells you that you don't measure up, you'll remember this. The standard has changed countless times before. Maybe the problem was never you. Because understanding the past changes the way we see ourselves today. Until next time, keep questioning the stories you've been told. And remember, subscribe so that you do not miss out on our exciting next video.